Hello and welcome to Data Integrity for your System of Record. I'm Susan Pollack, your host for this session. Before we get going, I just wanted to review a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, this is going to be recorded, so we will definitely make sure that you get a recording after the fact. If you need to step away, please don't pause your session. That will unsync you with the live presentation. Also wanted to let you know we do want to hear from you. Please use the Q&A tab to communicate with the presenters. There will be time to answer questions at the end of the presentation. Also, we have a number of different get in touch options there. Use the demo, chat, and content buttons on the left during the session if you want more information. And certainly as far as feedback, we want to know how we're doing. Use the thumbs up, and we certainly will be reaching out to you post-event to make sure that we are understanding how we did. We hit the mark for this session. I want to get us started by introducing our speakers. We're going to be talking to Will Ponton, who is our Senior Product Manager. Will is the Senior Product Manager responsible for Master Data Management at Precisely. And Will brings over a decade of experience across a combination of product-focused, customer-facing, and technical roles. Previously, Will was a product manager responsible for a number of different solutions and is highly tuned to working with customers to understanding their needs in master data. We're also going to be hearing from Keith Boardman, and Keith is a strategy principal in Precisely's Strategic Services Consulting Group. He has data migration, governance, architecture, and data management experience from mainframes to cloud, and he has decades of experience as an advisor on data strategy, governance, and architecture for many well-known companies and across many different verticals. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Will.
Thanks, Sue. We're excited to talk about master data management today and how that fits into a system of record and really help drive the business value for different companies. So let's start by level setting of what we mean by master data management. I think that's important. Imagine you have a large organization with many different departments and business systems. And each department has its own set of data, like customer names, product details, employee information, and more. Sometimes this data gets messy and inconsistent. For example, the same customer might have different addresses and different systems, or a product might have different descriptions depending on where you look in various systems. That's where MDM comes in, or Master Data Management. MDM is a special system that helps keep all the important data in order, right? It acts as a data hub, making sure that everyone in the organization uses the same and correct information. It's like having a central source of truth that everyone can rely on. MDM makes that important data, such as, like I mentioned, customer names, addresses, product details, or employee information, is accurate, up-to-date, and consistent. That is the key for MDM, and then synchronizes across all the various departments. That's the secret sauce. It really helps avoid confusion and mistakes that happen when different systems have different versions of the same data, which you can understand can get really messy. Enterprise MDM should be able to manage master data from the cradle to the grave throughout the entire data lifecycle. And that includes like record creation, validation of rules and standardization, maintenance and upkeep, all the way to deprecation or the eventual sunset of stale records or attributes the business doesn't need anymore. Imagine a customer calls up your organization and they want to update their address. Maybe they're not even calling, they're writing an email or a support ticket, right? With MDM, no matter what department or system they interact with, the change will be recorded in a central place and synchronized to everywhere it needs to go. So the next time anyone in the business looks up that customer's info, they'll see the correct address no matter where they access it. That's where a system of record comes in. A system of record refers to the primary or official source that stores and manages critical data related to specific business entities or transactions. Typically, it's a centralized database or an application that acts as the definitive source for that particular type of data, ensuring the integrity, reliability, and consistency of the record. In simpler terms, MDM is kind of like having that engine that keeps everyone on the same page when it comes to that important data. It helps prevent data chaos, ensures everyone has the right info, and makes the organization more lean and efficient in serving customers and making decisions. So next, we're going to look at the common business terms and domains that are used in a classic MDM use case. So master data is your business. As you can see here, there's different nouns that relate to data that could be managed in an MDM system, right? And they represent the key business entities and attributes that are common and shared across all the different systems and processes within your organization. It includes data elements like customer names, addresses, product descriptions, pricing information, and even employee details. MDM aims to ensure the consistency, accuracy, and integrity of all that master data throughout the entire lifecycle, like we mentioned before. Once companies implement an MDM combined with a system of record, they can achieve a unified and consistent view of those critical data assets. The powerful combo improves decision-making, enhances efficiency, and enables better data-driven insights in the organization. It's pretty easy to see from this list of examples here why having consistent and high-quality golden records for all your business entities and other key data is so important to fueling those critical business decisions. Imagine a mistake in your system of record or your golden record for any one of these entities. It can cause a lot of downstream cost effects and chew up margins in the supply chain. Okay, let's look at some of the common domains for master data and talk about how they fit into the modern MDM tech stack. So let's also discuss what we mean by data domain. Some companies call these data products or even channels, but we consider them data domains, and they're important to an MDM system of record as well. They typically cover several different domains linked together to really drive that value, right? The classic MDM configuration is vendor, customer, and product. And these specific domains can vary based on what industry you play in and your organization's focus, of course. But here's some of the most common ones. So we'll start with party data. It sounds really fun, but it refers to a specific type of master data that represents individuals or organizations that the business interacts with or has a relationship with. That can include customers, suppliers, vendors, partners, employees, prospects, or any other entity that plays a role in the operation of the organization. Party data typically includes information about the identity, characteristics, and relationships of those individuals or organizations that have the relationship with the business. It's kind of a foundation for managing and maintaining accurate and consistent data related to those entities. So it could be identity information, demographic information, relationships and associations. For example, a customer might be associated with a specific sales representative, or a supplier might be linked to a specific set of products or services, right? There's also contact preferences and historical data such as transaction history, purchase patterns, or even service interactions. Next, we have reference data. And in this context, we're talking about a specific type of data that provides standardized and commonly accepted values or codes, classifications, and standardized reference data across the entire organization. Some examples could be country codes, currency codes, industry classifications, product classifications and hierarchies, measurement units, and even language codes for different localized experiences. Then we have location domain. Location data domain covers geographical and spatial information related to the organization's physical assets, branches, stores, distribution centers, and other operation locations. Location domain can classically include address, coordinates, various hierarchies, and other location-specific attributes for those assets. For financial data, that's the critical information related to the financial transactions within the organization, like a general ledger of accounts, chart of accounts, financial hierarchies, reference codes, budgets, and other reporting structures. Then we have things, the kind of agnostic, business-specific domain that your group might have. It can really apply to anything, a bill of materials, other industry specifics, products, assets, and even services. So as you can see, there's many different domains that can make up an MDM, and the real secret sauce is by cross-referencing them to drive that business value. Keith is going to tell us about the verticals for some of these domains.
Good day, everyone. It's a real privilege to be able to share a little bit of what we at Precisely think is important Discussion of modern MDM has to include answering the question about which data should I target. We found that companies that are most successful in leveraging data for competitive advantage go far beyond knowing just which data domains are most important for their business processes and their reporting. They go to the level of knowing which specific data attributes within each domain are the most important. They then use this knowledge to prioritize their master data management efforts. Now, Precisely as a whole is strongly an advocate of using a business value-centered approach to data management prioritization. In other words, you should work on those things that are most important to your business. So as an example of this, let's take a look at the parties data domain. Will mentioned that it typically covers customers, vendors, business partners. It really represents any entity that you have a business relationship with. If you go across the industry verticals, you'll see that parties are very important to financial services, insurance, retail, and telco mediacom. The truth is that there are some common attributes of a party record that are of equal importance regardless of industry. But once you move beyond those relatively few common attributes, there's a significant variation in the attributes that each industry finds most important. For example, telco and mediacom have a much greater interest in the home and commonly frequented locations associated with their customers, and there's a subset of demographic data about their customers that is of interest. Financial services and insurance place much more emphasis on a different subset of demographic details about their customers because they use it as a means of determining risk, eligibility, and even fees. ESG-related party data is rapidly emerging as being important across all industries, but even there, what we're seeing is that the specific ESG-related attributes vary depending on which industry you're in. So no matter which industry vertical your company's in, we found that using a very repeatable, value-centric, and fact-based approach to prioritizing data is essential to successful MDM.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, so let's talk about why now, more than ever, MDM is super important for your business, especially in the context of a system of record, right? You can deliver advanced insights at market speed, minimize your risk and improve compliance. That's huge. Maximize your compliance, really, and increase operational efficiencies by having the most trusted data across your entire organization, poised and ready to be actioned upon, right? We're seeing that businesses are leaning towards more data-driven decision-making than ever. Technology is diverse and needs integrations more than ever. There's a lot of risk and compliance that Keith mentioned in like an ESG domain that are becoming more important that we're seeing. And there's also a huge demand for trusted, well understood master data for accurate and agile data-driven decisions. So we've established having a trusted, consistent, and accurate data set is key really to empowering those decisions. And that's the number one most important focus that we're seeing in the digitization journey people are pursuing today. So let's talk about what we at Precisely bring to the table in our MDM solution, EnterWorks. EnterWorks is a flexible, modern MDM solution that plays well with the system of record. We are that data hub that can synchronize all of your messy upstream data, standardize it, make it accurate, and then sync it to the downstream systems that need to consume it for the business. We have an open, extensible integration framework. There's like 114 connectors out of the box that play in all the most common marketing, CRM, ERP, BI, and other platforms that everyone's using. We have an insanely flexible data model that can be changed on the fly and synchronized across all your environments. We have a robust workflow and automation engine that can help with staging approvals for record sign-off between different groups and parties within your business to make sure the records are getting checked and balanced before promoted to a live consumption. We also support any of those data domains. We are domain agnostic, so you can have product data, party data, financial data, and link them all together seamlessly. And one differentiator for us is that all of our features are available for any domain. Other competitors might have a vendor or a customer MDM with a limited set of features that don't translate to the others. We also follow the philosophy of configure, not code, and we have advanced data quality and governance policies that can be enforced in the data to make it standardized, normalized, and as accurate as possible. All right, Keith, help us understand some of the most common challenges faced when taking on an MDM project.
Thanks, Will. Each of these quadrants that you see on the slide represents challenges that every organization faces. If you're seeing this set of challenges, it's usually an indication of the relative data maturity of your company. One of the biggest obstacles that we typically see is poor data literacy. This can be something as simple as having exactly the same name for a term, but two totally different meanings depending on which line of business within your company you're in. You can have things that have slightly different names and you think they're the same, but they're not. And then you can't find a source of truth. You don't know where to go to get the right data. This is all poor data literacy. So if you have poor data literacy, that's almost always going to result in a lack of data readiness.
Mm-hmm.
As modern MDM has emerged, just having data that's complete and conforming and fits in the field that it goes in the application is not anywhere close to enough. The bar has moved way up. Data now has to be trustworthy. It has to be timely, right data, right place, right time, and it's got to be seamless. There can't be any gaps in the data. So if you have poor data literacy, you end up with a lack of data readiness. That gets you a lot of data risk exposure. You either don't have traceability of changes, you tend to not protect data that needs to be protected and encrypted, and something a lot of people don't think about and is becoming more and more important is you retain data longer than it's needed for valid business purposes. A lot of the requirements and rules now say you're not allowed to hang on to data if you don't need it and can't have it and don't have a demonstrated business use. The last thing we see is a lack of sustainability. Your data updates lag reality. You don't move at the speed of business because of either complex or incomplete processes. And you have conflict between custodianship and ownership of the data. Custodianship is who maintains it. Ownership is who is empowered to make the decisions about what good data looks like. So successful MDM has to have an understanding of the business goals and objectives. The first step to MDM success is having a realistic data governance strategy and approach to address these challenges. A governance strategy and approach is just a framework that you use to guide a continuous cycle of identifying business data needs, understanding where and when the data is needed in the business processes, establishing data ownership, establishing stewardship, automating data quality enforcement at the most appropriate points in the process. I think you'll find if you examine us that Precisely is uniquely positioned to help organizations facing these challenges because we not only offer world-class technologies across the data landscape, but we also offer strategic consulting to help you move from where you are to where you want to be in using data as a competitive advantage. So, modern master data management requires data integrity. And data integrity is a lot more than just data quality. So what does modern data integrity look like? Well, it looks like this. First, you have significant data literacy. It doesn't have to be universal, but the people that benefit the most from the data, that need the data the most, have an understanding of where to go get the data. You have very few data silos. Your data stories, i.e. the requirements for the data, have been democratized so they represent all users and consumers. And you have a confidence that you can take action on trusted data. You know when you need to make high velocity decisions in seconds or minutes or hours, that the data you're looking at and whatever the reports are you're using can be trusted. Data is fit for the purpose. Okay, you govern at an enterprise level that which needs to be common across the enterprise. You understand what that data is, but you also understand which data is regional or local and should be governed with a different methodology, managed differently because it has impact that's confined to a specific line of business, a specific region or area. And most importantly, fit for purposes, you have good visibility. You have lineage, you have impact assessment, and you have relationships and context. You have strong data management policies that tend to minimize risk and maximize compliance by making it easy to do the right things with data, making it intuitive. You standardize and normalize, so you're speaking a common language, and you leverage automation, preferably at the point of entry, to ensure high quality data. What does this result in? It gives you data sustainability. Downstream, data errors cost a lot more than it costs to make sure the data is correct at the point of entry. Data sustainability also allows you to scale on demand if you have business events such as a merger, a divestiture, you've done an acquisition, you've taken on a new product line, and it allows you to flex as the regulations and requirements emerge. So we see a lot of this in the ESG space, carbon footprint in the energy industries, globally regulations about data privacy and protection. So if you need to do what if modeling, you need to add new data elements, you need to onboard an acquisition. These are the kind of things that modern MDM will help you support.
Great, thanks, Keith. Yeah, we're at Trust 23. This is about data integrity, right? Data integrity is a journey, and we know that lots of businesses and customers are on that journey to continuously improve the integrity of their data, which drives them to better understand their business and ultimately better serve their customers, right? We learned from our customers that there isn't a standard linear journey to data integrity that works for everyone. There's no one size fits all kind of solution for data integrity. Every business is different. Today, we discuss the importance of data integrity around master data management and your system of record. If that's where your journey starts, that's great. But it is continuous, and it requires really great solutions working together to deliver value to the business. That's where our data integrity suite comes in. Precisely's modular, interoperable data integrity suite contains everything you need to deliver accurate, consistent, contextual data to your business, whenever and wherever it's needed. It works seamlessly with the other modules and services offered and other products in the Precisely product portfolio, such as EnterWorks and our master data management solution, and your existing technology ecosystem. It's designed to work with traditional and modern tech stacks to maximize return on investment and drive innovation. As you can see, there's various services and modules that are thematically related to different activities within data integrity. Integration helps break down those data silos, quickly building modern data pipelines to organize the data to deliver it where it needs to go. Data observability helps you proactively uncover anomalies and act before they become costly downstream issues. Data drift and schema change. Data governance allows you to manage data policy and processes with greater insight into the meaning, lineage, and impact of the data. And quality, of course, helps you manage that accuracy, consistency, and fit for purpose that Keith mentioned across all of your operational and analytical systems. We also offer geo-addressing services that verify, standardize, cleanse, and geocode your address records in that location domain, right? To unlock valuable context for more informed decision-making. Spatial analytics helps us visualize the relationships hidden in your data between those locations and reveal critical context for those decisions. And then we have data enrichment, which allows you to add contextual data across your business data with curated data sets that have thousands of attributes out of the box to help you make faster, more informed decisions. So as you can see, master data management is a perfect fit in this blend of services that make up the data integrity suite that really will help you achieve that business value. Now, we know you have all the resources to get there on your own, but if you'd like to get there quicker, our strategic services team is there to assist you on every stage of this journey.
Thanks, Will. One of the most important advantages I think that Precisely offers to our customers is access to an extremely experienced and pragmatic group of strategic advisors. The strategic services team prides itself on meeting you wherever you are in your data integrity journey. You don't have to be very experienced. You can be right at the beginning, or you can be very far along your journey and you're encountering problems you haven't seen before and would like some experienced advice from folks that have been there and are monitoring and watching and helping companies with what's emerging in the data space. We'll give you whatever level of guidance and direction you need to make the next steps that you need to make. One thing I want to mention is, even though strategic services is very well versed in the Precisely portfolio, we often operate technology agnostic. And what that means is we come in and we figure out what the problem is that you're trying to solve, or the business goal or objective you're trying to achieve, and then take advantage of the strengths, your existing technical assets as they're appropriate, and guide you how to fill in any people, process, and technology gaps. We also teach you how to focus and govern and manage your data to achieve specific business value objectives. Companies that gain advantage using data are those that rally their people and solutions around the data that's most important.
Yep, and that's a big part of the secret sauce that makes Precisely different. Obviously, we have our data integrity suite, the modular interoperable services collection that helps you achieve data integrity along with your MDM goals. We also have advanced insights through our MDM system InnoWorks that has multi-domain flexibility, cross-domain intelligence, and helps you keep that data record accurate, consistent, and up-to-date throughout the entire lifecycle. And then where strategic services come in with the deep domain expertise to really guide you through that journey, help you make the best decisions and choices along that journey, and deliver, the end results to the business that are going to help you get that value. So as you can see, we're like a one-stop shop for everything you need for data integrity, MDM, and any strategic consulting that your company might need. All right, I'll turn it back to you, Sue. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Will and Keith. I know that this was a very, very enlightening session on data integrity around your master data. We do have some time for questions, so let me kind of open it up here. And actually, the first one I have, I think, is probably for Keith here. As far as you talked a lot about the strategic services team and what you can bring to the table. What does initial call look like, or what does initial meeting with strategic services cover, Keith?
Oh, typically, we hope to get involved very early on in any engagement Precisely has with a customer. What you'll find on an initial call is that we're going to listen a lot. We'll ask some open-ended questions, but we really seek to understand where you are and what you're trying to accomplish before we attempt to provide advice.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Let's get the lay of the land first. That's important. Excellent. This question probably is more for Will. We leverage your PIM. We leverage your PIM product. What's the difference between an MDM and a PIM? And don't most solutions do both?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a PIM refers to Product Information Management System. Let's just consider that a single domain, right, for product. So just a system that focuses on one data domain for products, very well. It's kind of specialized for that. Whereas InnoWorks is a multi-domain, and it's domain agnostic master data management system. So a lot of our customers will have more than one domain. Product sometimes is one of them, right? But then when you have customer and vendor, like I mentioned before, they're all linked together through that reference data domain. And then you can understand what vendors are supplying parts for your products, and then what customers are ordering and consuming those products that the vendors are supplying. So you really get this kind of bird's eye view across all the different domains in an MDM, whereas a PIM just focuses on product records.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. I have a question about mergers and acquisitions. Comes up a lot. How does master data management? How do you work with M&A? How does that benefit M&A? What does that look like? I think that's probably a Keith question.
Yeah, thanks, Sue. If you think back to one of the areas Will covered, which is what the data domains are, and some of the stuff I talked about understanding which of your data is most important. If you've reached the point where you understand which data is critical, you understand what your reference data is and what the allowed values are, then if you're acquiring a company, you have a very good picture of what the target needs to look like when you're bringing their data in. On the other hand, if you know exactly which data is important to which business processes, which is important to which of your lines of business, and again, you have good definition of all the rules, then if you're spinning off a company, you know exactly which data has to be spun or removed from your shared system and placed in a separate system for that company that you're spinning off. So either way, having the definition and the understanding helps you. In fact, one of the things that we typically advocate is if you're building your whole data governance, data management strategy and approach and philosophy, document it, because it's very easy to produce a playbook that you can then leverage when you're starting to bring in an acquisition or spin off a divestiture.
Got it. Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Keith. A couple of other questions. Is it possible to start a master data management project without having governance?
Ooh. What we typically, you want to take that one, Will?
I mean, that's one of the biggest challenges I think we see is that if you don't have kind of data maturity and governance policies in place, like Keith mentioned, there's ownership and custodianship, right? Then it's really difficult to get that kind of standardized business glossary that will operate under that data domain. But Keith, what do you have to add?
The other thing we see a lot, we talk about three kinds of prioritization and working with data. One is top down, which means your company's trying to do something and that's driving a need to really work on the data that's required to accomplish whatever they're trying to do. We also see bottoms up, which is very much an operational focus where people are trying to initiate a data cleanup or something to cover a very specific siloed operational need within one line of business or within one specific function. You can start data management to solve a very specific problem, but for it to be sustainable and to get the maximum benefit, you really need governance as well. You don't have to tackle governance for all data across the company, but you can tackle governance for, say, just the customer domain, or just the vendor domain, or just the product domain.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Question about roadmap. What are the roadmap things that are coming up? Roadmap items that you're most excited about this year? That sounds like Will could probably answer that.
Yep, that's my wheelhouse. Man, we got a great roadmap for the next year plus with Enterworks specifically. So, big project we're working on is redoing our UI and making just a more streamlined user experience in general. We're also focusing on some performance items to help kind of catalyze the data input and output of Enterworks. Those are some of the more tactical near-term items that we're working on. Long-term, we're looking at what we can use from that data integrity suite to enrich Enterworks and decorate it with other features and capabilities related to data quality, data governance, observability. And then, also part of the strategy that you saw on that one slide is an MDM module in the architecture of the suite that we're going to pursue. We're still in the early stages of figuring out all the requirements for that, but that's certainly on our roadmap as well.
Thanks, Will. I've got one more question that we're going to go with. What is the difference between master data and reference data in the examples that you gave? So if you want to articulate on that a little bit, Will.
Yeah, so master data is just the data that's been standardized, normalized, and accuratized, I guess. I'll just make up a new word there. And the reference data is like the kind of glue that ties your domains together and makes your data more valuable. So like I mentioned, if you have an address domain or a location domain, some of your reference data could be county codes or country codes or zip codes, right? And then that list is the gold standard of reference to the other domains that help tie everything together.
Great.
Yeah, well, another way to think about reference data is it's the list of allowed values. And as you said, it needs to be common across domains. You certainly wouldn't want to use different abbreviations for states, for customer addresses than you would for vendor addresses.
Exactly.
So I think we've got to wrap up here. I wanted to thank Keith and Will. Thank you so much for a session. Thanks for taking a lot of questions. I think that turned out well. Please, if you have additional questions, put them in the chat. We definitely want to get to you and make sure that you get your questions answered. And that leads me to exactly what we're talking about here, which is next steps. We want to continue to answer your questions and engage with you to answer to determine where you are on your data integrity journey. If you want to request a demo or a live trial, we'd love to work with you on that. Perhaps you want to schedule a conversation with our Precisely experts or with Keith's team, the strategic services team, kind of figure out what's the best course of action for your team. We'd love to do that. Or if you just want to dive into more content on today's topics, make sure that you're hitting the information on your window there and you'll be able to get to our website and learn more. Bottom line, we want to make sure that we hit the mark on this session. So, let us know feedback. There will be a session. There will be a survey post-event. So we definitely want to make sure that we are getting you information that's important. In the meantime, thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with us today. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.